Today I have the unboxing and review of the Pioneer S9. This is a Bluetooth wireless and noise cancelling headphone that came out, I believe, back in 2019. I've not really seen a lot of reviews, talk or chatter about this online, and I was quite interested to check it out and see if Pioneer, who does have a reputation as quite a good audio company, if the current headphones they're making are any good. Now, in terms of what we have here, noise cancelling, you've got your microphone, your drivers, all the usual stuff. Does not come with a hard case. You get a little soft carrying pouch. Based on the headphone itself, it doesn't fold. So what you're looking at here in this box and what you're going to look at when I unbox it in a moment is exactly how you're going to have to carry it. So that's not good. It doesn't fold up, doesn't sort of compact away in any case. This is exactly how you're going to live with it. But interestingly enough, you've got aptX HD. So for me personally, I do have devices that support aptX HD and Sony's proprietary version of that, which is LDAC from memory. So I can, over my devices, in my particular case, I can get a little bit more information coming across from my device to my headphones. So in terms of the box, it's not a great experience. So we come around here. It's a very simple budget plastic experience. These headphones retail for, I believe, around $200. I picked these up for $150. So with the unboxing experience, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm totally fine with the cheaper sort of packaging. It's all about the headphones and how they sound to me. Now, I've been using these for a little while already. You can see it's already paired to my phone via Bluetooth. In terms of the box, you get some usual paperwork, warranty information, and similar nonsense. You get the headphone jack, which we all have hundreds of by now, and unfortunately, you have micro USB. So these don't have USB-C, it's micro, which is annoying in this day and age, but look, I'll forgive anything for good sound. There we go. So the headphones come with this little soft pouch. They don't fold up or have any kind of way to make them smaller, so you are carrying them exactly as you find here. There's no hard case. That's a bit annoying in this day and age, so I would be worried throwing these into a bag or backpack, but again, these cost me $150, so considering the cheap price, I'm less concerned about looking after these over time as I am some other more expensive headphones. I obviously don't want to destroy them or have anything bad happen to them, but I would care less if these got crushed behind some textbooks or something. There's the Pioneer branded bag. The headphones themselves, you have a very well padded headband. It's nice and soft, fake leather of course. It has a kind of a dry, almost gritty texture to it, but it's still quite compelling. I found that this doesn't cause any problems. It doesn't sort of grab your hair as you move it around or walk around, so it's not a problem. In terms of the setup, you've got plastic here. These are metal, and it's just a case of slide to adjust. You've got exposed wires, which always makes me nervous, but I don't think there'll be any problems. Metal ear cups. These don't have any buttons or touch controls. They don't do anything. The only buttons on the unit are on the left-hand ear cup. So you have your 3.5mm, you have your micro USB. I believe that's to summon the Google Assistant, which obviously I don't use, so I don't care. Power on and off, volume up and down, and then there's a middle button, which is your play, pause, etc. I believe if you hold and press, it'll give you your fast forward and back as well. So multifunction there. Now, in terms of comparisons to other industry stalwarts, we have the Sony WXM3s. The noise cancelling on these is better. The battery life is a bit better. The comfort is better. The ear cups are just nicer. This is not an uncomfortable headphone. It's not going to cause any problems over long listening sessions. It's not too heavy. It's not going to get in the way of you doing what you need to do, whether you're inside, out and about. The noise cancelling on the WXM3s is better. It's present on these S9s, but it's not the greatest. We're sort of getting to the point where noise cancelling is considered standard almost for a lot of Bluetooth headphones, especially ones that are over ear like this. So it's here, it's nice to have, it's good. It's not as good as some of the other ones out there. So if you're looking to make a purchase decision based on the noise cancelling alone, WXM3s or 4s is the way to go. So here's an audio test of the Pioneer S9 onboard microphones. This is just to get a sense for what a phone call or a recording, like a Zoom call or something, would sound like if you were using these headphones. Just got a bit of background noise at the moment, but this is a closed indoor environment. Now the Pioneer headphones do have an app
to accompany them. I've tried it, it's useless. The only thing that I could see on there that might be of use is updating the software or the firmware on the headphones. Beyond that, there's nothing in there. It allows you to turn the noise cancelling on or off, but you can do that through the buttons on the headset anyway, so it's irrelevant.
Something else that I've noticed about these headphones is they're good for podcasts. The quality of the voice is fine. You can hear any background noises, music, or effects that are going on during the podcast. And the voice is clear when the narrator or narrator is. Now, as you may have heard in the microphone test recording, the audio just bottomed out for no apparent reason. I have used that same phone with different headphones to record a voice like that, and it's never done it before. So at this stage, I'm going to attribute that dropout to the Pioneer headphones themselves. All right, so final thoughts on the Pioneer S9s. Now, one thing that I had a problem with when I saw the photos for this is it can't swivel. There's no way to do it. This is all set. And I was concerned that these wouldn't sit properly and they wouldn't be sort of a comfortable experience. What I've found is that the E-cups themselves are shaped, as you can see there. So they're thicker in the bottom and towards the back and thinner in the front. And at the top of it, what that means is that the headphones naturally conform to your head. So ears don't sit flat against the skull. They sort of jut out a little bit. With these headphones, they're sort of already bent in terms of this wire frame here. And these ear cups, they're already sort of bent, so the drivers inside the headphones are pointing directly into your ear, which is what you want. So don't be concerned about the fact you can't adjust these. It does sort of fit correctly. They've already thought about that. Now, we have the basic controls, volume, on, off, and a dedicated Google Assistant button. I don't think this supports Siri. You've also got that lovely micro USB port there. 2019, micro USB, it's annoying. We all have a few cables around, it's not the end of the world. It does also have an audio jack in. Now, when I first saw these headphones, I was interested because Pioneer is an old audio company with a good history and a good reputation. So I wanted to see what could these guys do in terms of an over-ear Bluetooth headphone. The market at the moment is saturated with Sony's, Bose, and JBL seems to be coming through a bit as well. There are, of course, other options, Sennheiser, for example, and then even cheaper sort of, I'll call them the Amazon options, which is like the Anker Soundcore and so on and so forth, which is all fine. But what could an established audio company do? I was blown away by the Yamaha E700s. They're my number one Bluetooth headphone. I'm listening to them 95% of the time. The only time I'm not listening to them is if those headphones are charging or I'm at home listening to my Sennheiser HD660S and a DAC amp combo. There's not really much reason for me to be using any other headphone at the moment. They're that good. These don't sound as good. So sound quality is good. There's clarity, there's detail. The low end sounds hollow and constrained. The high end is similar. So these are closed back headphones. This is metal over here. I sort of expect that. Some other closed back headphones that I've tried, they usually use software tricks and some other construction tricks to sort of prevent that. So foam padding inside, which sort of absorbs the sound and you don't have quite the same echo from the closed back. These don't do any of that. So the bass sounds a bit hollow. You can definitely hear it, but there's no depth in those notes. It's just a very dull sort of a restricted thump for bass and drums and so on and so forth. The high end, the upper registers of a piano, you can hear the note, but there's not a little sparkle behind it, and it's a bit disappointing. Other tracks where I've listened to them through different headphones, I've been able to hear that depth in the bass. I've been able to hear that spark on the high end. These headphones don't have that. So some albums and tracks, these headphones just don't represent very well. What I found they're good for is classical music, live performances with smaller ensembles. So a quartet, a soloist. If there's not a lot of instruments in the mix, these do well. But if you have a full orchestra, if you have a lot of different instruments playing at once, this can sound a little bit restrictive for all of that. The sound doesn't become muddy or distorted in any way. It's just there's not a lot of room to breathe across all those different instruments. Certain songs and albums, this just can't do well. So an example is the Interstellar soundtrack. Mountain, Detach, and in the new deluxe edition, Murph. Those tracks sound amazing on some other headphones. They sound good on these. So there's just something missing. They just don't have the range necessary to really let those tracks shine as well as they could. This can do some forms of electronic music well. Some tracks it just doesn't do well at all. Faithless to All New Arrivals. That album sounds great on some other headphones I own. On these, it sounds a bit mediocre. So these headphones just can't do some of those albums justice. But this is the point where I mentioned the price. MSRP on these is around $200. I picked these up retail for $150. For that price, for $150 to $200, and I'm sure you could find it cheaper secondhand or even on eBay and so forth. If you can pick these up for about $100, then the sound quality and the other features here are very well worth it. If you are someone who can afford to wait to save up, by all means get the Sonys, but if you're someone who has about $150 to spend, you want something now, you're looking for Bluetooth over ear, then this is something that I don't think you'd be too disappointed with, but you do need to realize you are making some compromises. Again, you can't fold this up, micro USB, Google Assistant only. You are definitely compromising, but if you're willing to accept that compromise for that price, then I think you'll be happy with these. So if you're using a device which supports aptX HD, you can get the most out of these headphones by getting the most information from your source to the headphones, and then whatever the headphones could do, they have that full range of information to sort of reproduce that for you. If you're someone who doesn't have a device supporting that, or you're on an iPhone, for example, you're not going to get the best out of these. But I think they still sound good, that you may want to consider these for that cheap price. Overall, I have a hunch that these are being phased out. I'm not seeing them displayed on the websites. I'm not seeing a lot of them in stock. I think that these have sort of run their course. I don't know if Pioneer is going to come out with something new. Hopefully they will. I'd really like to see a high-end Bluetooth headphone from Pioneer, just like the Yamaha. That came through, didn't hear much about it, tried it, loved it. Prefer it over the Sony or any other Bluetooth headphone I own. I'd really like to see Pioneer try and come out with something similar. The more competition there is in the market for headphones, the more we as consumers are going to benefit, because the manufacturers will have to fight each other to add new features, to get better sound quality, etc., in order to get that consumer dollar through. So it can only help us if there's more competition. Some manufacturers will just put all their budget into advertising, so that doesn't always work, but if a manufacturer is willing to put some cash into R&D, then we, the consumer, are generally going to benefit from that. So, final thoughts on the Pioneer. It's not the best sounding headphone that I've heard for that cheap price, and if you're willing to accept the compromises I've talked about, this is a good value proposition. If you want sort of an inexpensive Bluetooth headphone and you are willing to accept compromises, and you do have a source which can support aptX HD and get you the most out of these that you could get out of them. If, however, you don't have a device that supports those kind of codecs, if you're not really willing to compromise, then I say just save your money and get the Sonys. See if you can pick them up used for a decent price. These are something that you probably need to listen to and get used to the sound in order to see if you'd really be able to live with it. When I first tried these and put them on, I thought, I hate the sound. But after I gave them a couple of weeks and listened to them and burned them in, I found that I did sort of acclimatize to that sound signature of these and get used to them. I am sort of subconsciously comparing them to $500 Bluetooth headphones, which is not a fair comparison to them, considering the price point. So what I would say is, if you can try these out, if you can borrow them from a friend, or you can go to a store and just test them, definitely try them out, test them, but understand you may need to get used to the sound signature. Anyways, that has been my unboxing and review of the Pioneer S9. Thank you for watching.